Hello, I'm Brenda Sanders Passmore, and welcome to Health Bites. Today, I'm going to show you a sequence involving active and passive yoga postures today. It's going to be a really thorough way to stretch out the hips and thighs. So let's get started. We're just going to stretch out the legs in front of us, and we're going to draw the thighs together. We're going to point the toes up towards the ceiling. We're just going to go into a passive forward fold. So we're just going to drop the chin, the chest. Then we're going to exhale, slowly slide on down the legs, dropping the nose down towards the knees. So in a passive posture, we're just letting the entire upper body go limp. We're using our breath, our body weight, and gravity to do all the work for us. Rounding out the shoulders, the head's very, very heavy, and we're just breathing deeply here. So with this variation, you're going to feel a slight pull in the hamstrings and a good pull in the low back. In a moment, when we do the active version, you're going to feel it quite differently. We're going to release the hands and slowly come back on up. All right, so for this next one, you're probably going to want to use a strap. If you don't have one, you can probably use a bathrobe tie or something similar. What we're going to do is just lasso the strap around the arches of our feet. And then what I want you to do is hold the straps long. By that I mean the arms are fairly straight and the hands are much closer to the feet. So what we're going to do is sit up super tall. We're going to keep the head up and the shoulders back, and then we're going to exhale, draw the breastbone forward and wrap the straps around the knuckles. So what we're doing here is keeping the chest lifted, the shoulders back, and I'm hinging forward with a flat back. And again, the emphasis has changed quite a bit. You're going to feel a lot more pull in the backs of the legs and the hamstrings. And we're just breathing deeply. Now, I instruct this with the straps just because a lot of people are really fixated on touching their toes when they start a yoga program. So this is kind of more or less to keep your hands busy. But if you're able to, without rounding out the shoulders and the neck, what you can do is use the yogi grip by using the first and second fingers wrapped around the big toes. But notice I'm not rounding out the shoulders or the head. Head is still lifted, shoulders back, chest lifted, nice flat back. So this is where your posture can go if you're a little bit more flexible. And we're just breathing, breathing, breathing. And then we're just going to release the hands or the strap and then slowly come back on up. Moving on, we're going to bring the right heel in towards the groin. And if your knee's up off the mat, what you can do is just slide a flat block underneath there. You can use a cushion too if you're at home. And then what we're going to do is just drop the chin, the chest, and we're going to exhale, just slowly slide on down that left leg. Let the hands drop on the floor on either side of the leg and the nose down towards the knee. So once again, we're just letting the entire upper body go limp, using our breath to help encourage the muscles to soften faster. And if you can easily access the feet, you're welcome to interlace the hands around the arches of your feet. But if you can't access the feet, then just let the hands drop and just don't worry about the toes. You'll get there someday. And then we're just going to slowly come on up. All right, so once again, we're going to do the active version. So we're going to grab the strap, wrap it around the arch of your left foot, hold the straps long, keep your head up, shoulders back, exhale, draw the breastbone forward, wrap the straps around the knuckles, keep your head lifted, and gazing straight ahead. So this is a stronger emphasis again in the back of the leg, the hamstring of the straight leg. And then we're just going to release the strap and inhale our way back on up. We're going to straighten out that right leg, and then we're going to lift our gift from the mat. So just physically lift the flesh up so that you're nice and flush to the mat again. So we're just going to do the other side. We're going to bring the left heel now in towards the groin. So again, if your knees up off the mat, just slide a block underneath there. We're going to drop the chin, the chest, and we're going to exhale, slide on down the right leg. Let the hands drop on the floor on either side of the leg and the nose down towards the knee. Release the hands wherever they are and inhale, slowly make your way back on up. So we're going to grab the strap again, wrap it around the arch of your right foot, hold the straps long, sit up nice and tall, head up, shoulders back. Exhale, draw the breastbone forward, wrap the straps around the knuckles. So the shoulders are directed back towards the back wall, chest is lifted. And we're gazing straight ahead. We're going to inhale, release that strap, and slowly come back on up. All right, so we did one side, then the other. Now we're going to start putting it together. So what we're going to do is bring our feet together into what we call a bound angle posture. And if your knees are quite hot, like if they look more like this, you're going to want to use your blocks just for extra support. It'll make it less pinchy in the groin when we do fold over. So for the passive version, what we're going to do is just drop the chin, the chest, and then we're going to fold on over. Now you can cup the toes with your hands if you like. It's a very nurturing variation of the posture. And out of all the yoga poses there are, this is the one to really exaggerate your breath. So by exaggerating the breath, every time your belly expands and comes back in, essentially what we're doing is massaging the ligaments and the tendons in the groin and the hips. So you'll notice that my head's dipping just that much more every time I breathe deeply. And then we're just going to inhale, slowly come back on up. For the active version of this posture, we don't need the strap. We're actually going to use the yogi grips, the first and second fingers, and we're going to wrap them around our big toes, and then we're going to clasp the big toes with our thumbs. So this time, instead of using the straps, we're going to basically use our arm muscles or our bicep muscles to draw us forward. So we're going to keep the head up, shoulders back, and then we're going to draw the breastbone forward. Now, it's still felt in the groin and your thigh, it just seems to be getting different bits and pieces of that area. So that's why this is a thorough stretch for the hips and thighs. It just gets all the different angles. And then we just release the hands and slowly come back on up. What we're going to do now is straighten out the legs, and then we're going to bring them out wide. So you should be able to easily point the toes up to the ceiling. The legs should be very flush to the floor, and you should really feel no stretch in here yet at all. If you do, I encourage you to draw the ankles closer together. So we're going to go with our passive fold first. So we're going to drop the chin, the chest, and then we're going to slowly fold on over, dropping the forehead and the forearms down towards the floor. Now, if you're really tight in this posture, your pose will look probably a lot more like this, where the arms are braced but the head is down. And this is where I started years ago, so that's perfectly fine. And just using your breath to go deeper. If you feel like you're kind of in between, not quite all the way down to the floor, you can kind of try something like this, where you're using the blocks underneath the forearms. We're just drawing the head down. And then from wherever you're at, you're just going to use your hands to kind of push yourself on back up. All right, so for the active version again, we're just going to keep the head up, shoulders back, keep the chest lifted, and we're just going to draw the breastbone forward by inching our fingers forward. Now, your fingers might not be inching very far at all, and that's okay. Just be okay with wherever you're at. The main thing is that we don't want to be rounding out the shoulders and the back. We want to keep the chest lifted. So someday, when you have a little bit more flexibility, your posture could potentially kind of look like this, where we wrap the first and second fingers around the big toes. Again, the chest is still lifted, shoulders are back, and I've got a nice flat back. But don't rush to get to the deeper versions of the posture. You'll get there someday. And then we're just going to inhale our way back on up. So next we're just going to push the thighs together, and then we're going to sit back on the hands a little bit. We're going to bend the knees, and we're just going to windshield wiper the knees from side to side. This just shakes out residual tension, and it feels good. So that's our little exploration of active and passive yoga postures. I encourage you to give it a try. Thanks for watching, and namaste.